Hi everyone, Heather Rose Walters, creator of Iffly, and I'm here to tell you the basics for how to write in the Iffly writing tool. You've created a new story, you're ready to get started. The basics of Iffly are content blocks, which is this happy little thing, and buttons. Now, from a content block or from a button, you can create a new button with Shift Enter. Shift Enter creates a button which in reader view will be interactable, clickable by the reader to change the story. If you want to create multiple buttons, there's a few ways to do that. You can go back to the content block and just do Shift Enter again. Or from the button, you can do Command Shift Enter and it will create another concurrent button just like that. Now, from a button, you can create another button or Command Enter creates another content block. So content blocks, these guys, and buttons, these guys are the bread and butter of Iffly. To make a button, you go Shift Enter, content block, Command Enter. Now, to navigate between these, we've got a few different story paths. There's a few ways to do that. One, you can just click here. I click the little pen icon. Now nothing below it appears because we haven't created any more content blocks, but I'll just go ahead and do Command Enter, new block. Now you'll remember there was also one below this button. So how do we get there? Why did it disappear? We're in the most zoomed in view. So it's a single storyline view, which helps with focused writing. To navigate between those, there's a few different options. You can just click the little pen icon and it'll show the story path below it. We'll do that here too. Oops. There it is. Or from the button, you can do shift side arrows and it jumps storylines. You can also do command up to zoom out. There we go, zoomed out view. Command up again, zoomed out even more. This is the fully zoomed out view, which shows all of your buttons, content blocks, everything. Really useful for when you start having a lot of content blocks and story paths and all that jazz. You'll notice that the content blocks are automatically, well, Genesis is unique because it's your very first, it's the beginning of the story. The other content blocks are named whatever the first few words of that content block is. You can rename it by right-clicking and renaming the block. This is blank because we didn't put anything in there, but we can add something. And now that's the name of the content block. You can edit from this view, which is really useful. I'm going to zoom back in, which is command down, zoom back in again. And now I'm in the most zoomed in part of the story. Now to delete a button or a content block, all you do is right click, delete the block. It'll make sure you're sure about that so you can't really accidentally do it, so never fear. Click delete and it disappears. This one is still there. We just have to click on the story path, or I could have seen it by zooming out. Now, let's say you want this to go somewhere, like you want to add a tracking line. So these arrows are tracking lines. If you want someone after this to go get the option to go back to this button, what you do is you right click, start tracking line, and then wherever you want them to go, we'll just say right here, end tracking line. I'm going to rename this button so we can tell it's unique when we practice it, but you will see the nice thing also is you can do reader view. This is what your players are going to see when they play this game. So let's test it out. This is not publishing it. This is just testing it for your eyes. Okay, remember we titled it testing. This is the cover page. If you had a cover image, this is what would appear right here. Then we got the title page. This is our first content block. These are the 3 buttons we made. I'm going to click here. This is the second content block, and the tracking line went back to that button, which just I wrote unique. We didn't put any content under that button, so it ended the story. Exit game. And there you go. Those are the basics for how to write for Iffly. You've got your content blocks, buttons, how to delete. We jumped between story paths, zoom in and zoom out, and tracking lines. Thanks for joining Iffly. Happy writing.